In Portal 2, you play as Shell after she has killed GLaDOS in the first game. However, you don't need to have played Portal to understand how to play Portal 2. The good thing about this is you get to enjoy the mystery of the story, who Shell is, and why she's in a testing facility. You constantly have GLaDOS making comments to you about how weak and horrible you are at puzzles and life in general. This is contrasted by your friendship with Wheatley, who is actively trying to help you escape. Even though you have GLaDOS constantly berating you and putting you down, you still find motivation to do better and escape because of Wheatley's positivity. You are given almost like an angel and devil on each shoulder constantly throughout the gameplay. This complexity can be seen as examples of the id, ego, and superego. The id can be represented as the devil, and the superego can be represented as the angel. The ego can filter these thoughts and feeling to find a balance between the two without letting either one take over. I was motivated to play the game because during my time playing, I was finding school difficult and was struggling with the learning curves that I faced. Having an outlet to escape to after school and to feel as though I was able to overcome difficult challenges was what kept me playing Portal 2. Although I found some of the puzzles to be more difficult and time-consuming, I was still able to complete them and continue through the story. This fed into the id, my unconscious need to be good at something in life when I couldn't at school. It gave me instant gratification when I felt like the whole world was against me. The learning curves that I was experiencing during this time at school were always making me feel bad about myself, so the fact that I found something that I was enjoying and felt as an escape was one of the main reasons I devoted so much time to playing Portal 2. These feelings were only really satisfied when I was at home, away from school, playing Portal 2. Even though I still had to do my schoolwork, I treated playing Portal 2 as a reward for at least trying. This was a way for my ego to allow me to have the gratification of overcoming difficult obstacles in a time that was appropriate for me. I remember being at school and all I could think about was getting to go home and play Portal 2 because that was where I felt most accomplished. This feeling, however, came with consequences from the superego. Thinking about Portal 2 so often did come with a sense of guilt that I was spending too much time playing games and not enough time dedicated to schoolwork. However, the more I struggled with school, the less guilty I felt when I would accomplish more and more puzzles throughout the game. Even though high school is such an important part of a teenager's life, I never saw the value in it when I found so much more entertainment and reward in playing and succeeding in my favorite game. Continuing through the game introduces you to the few but significant mechanics of the game. These include walking, jumping, and traversing portals. The simplicity of these mechanics allows you to explore everything else and not have to worry too much about learning an extensive amount of information. Exploring where and how to use the puzzles is part of the enjoyment because you can experiment with each puzzle without consequences. Another mechanic of the game that should be spoken about more is the respawn element. You can die, fall off platforms, or get crushed without consequence, as you will automatically be respawned into the test chamber as many times as you want. This also ties into the elimination of consequences for making mistakes because you can just restart the level. This makes the superego feel invisible because you're rid of shame from the inability to complete the puzzle and perform well. Another factor of the game that appeals to me is the aesthetics and color palette that evolves during gameplay. The aesthetics of Portal 2 are very minimalistic. The color scheme is whites, greys, and blues. The pop of occasional color is from the bright orange and blue colored portals that you can place onto the white paneled walls. The industrial style of the environment fits the color theme perfectly. This minimalistic approach to the aesthetics of the game makes it stand out. The fact that the look of the game appears barren or empty feeds into the feeling of applying that to yourself. Especially in my teenage years, playing this game and feeling the same as Shell, and how the environment reflects my feelings, made me relate to the game as a whole. The environment gradually changes the more you progress throughout the story, which can be representative of finding yourself in life the more you grow and experience, and Shell finding out who she is and the story of how everything started. This ties into my wish fulfillment for wanting to find myself in life and struggling to do so through school. The enjoyment that playing Portal 2 gave me filled my desire to want to know who I am and discover myself in such a confusing time during puberty especially. I am drawn to Portal 2 because I enjoy playing puzzle games. To me though, this isn't like every puzzle game. The story that comes with it, the story of Shell and her corruption of the testing facility is what makes the progression seem worth it. This desire for me to uncover the lore of the game pushes me to complete the puzzles and is what makes me want to keep playing. I'm not usually one to play or enjoy single player games, but this game somehow kept me hooked. The opportunity to uncover who Shell is was a way for me to have the satisfaction of discovering the identity that I was struggling to find during my years of puberty. In finding who Shell was, I was able to relate to her in my time of confusion and feeling as though I had no idea who I was at the time. I thoroughly enjoy Portal 2 and playing through it anytime I can. The nostalgia that it gives me is always a welcome feeling.